What's up, guys? Coach Rafa. Today I'm gonna bring you what shoes you should wear when you're starting to run, or you're training for a marathon, or you're training in general. So I'm gonna show you guys my personal shoe rotation and then walk you through the type of shoes that you will need. So first and foremost, you need a trainer for daily miles. So it's obvious that when you're training for a marathon or you're training for any race in general, you're gonna have a lot of days where you're doing aerobic miles, aka easy miles, or recovery miles, or long days, right, where you run 20% of your whole week's mileage. So personally, I like to get shoes that are highly cushioned. I have the Super Blast IIs from ASICS. These are for daily miles, recovery miles, or even your long days. These shoes are incredible. They are by far, in my 10 years of running, they are by far the best trainer I've ever had, really. I rate these a 9 out of 10, and let me explain why. So they have a really high stack. Don't mind the dirtiness, I literally use them almost every day. They have a really high stack, meaning that they have a lot of protection. The cushion itself, it's a perfect mix of softness and firmness. So you don't really want very soft shoes because you won't have a lot of responsiveness, right? The mushiness of the shoe will pretty much absorb all impact, but it'll also not give you much pushback. So these shoes are very responsive. I mean, I would even use them for races, to be honest with you, for long races like half marathons or marathons, because they give you such a good pop. It makes it easy for you to take off with less energy, right? But they're not firm. They're not too firm to where they're hurting your shins or they feel too hard, right? They're just right. And they're very light, actually. That is another thing that I really like about them. They're very breathable. As you can see, they have the mesh here to let the air flow through. They're very comfortable. Let's see. And I mean, yeah, honestly, they're just very good shoes. The traction is great. So I've tested these out as well in the rain and the dirt. They hold up very well, very, very well. But the only reason that I would give them a 9 out of 10 instead of a 10 is because they do feel the thickness of the stack height and the cushioning. It feels very, very bulky at times. So whenever you're trying to run like shorter distance workouts, say anything less than a mile, like 1Ks, 800, stuff like that, you definitely feel it, the bulkiness, and they could get a little bit heavy over time. But honestly, you could race with them for 13 miles. I mean, for the marathon, they're just a little too heavy for long races or short races. But I think for a 10K or a marathon, they'll be okay. The key points of this shoe are the high cushion and the responsiveness and the comfort overall. All right, for my next shoe, the Nova Blast 5s. The Nova Blast 5 from ASICS. For your second shoe, you need a very light, very responsive and fast shoe that you could use for long workouts. What a shoe. So these shoes are actually very cheap for the quality that they are. They are $140. And wow, I mean, the cushioning is good. The responsiveness of this shoe is out of this world. I would honestly say the responsiveness is just as good as a Super Blast. And the Super Blasts are $200, right? So I would give these shoes an 8 out of 10. So the reason I would give these shoes an 8 out of 10 is because the cushion itself is very responsive, very fast. I mean, these shoes have a pop. I honestly, these are my tempo shoes, my threshold workouts. I would definitely use these for a threshold workout. They can handle fast paces. They are a little bit, honestly, no, they're very light. They are very, very light, very responsive, very light. But the reason I give them the 8 out of 10 is because the cushioning personally for me, it can't really handle more than 6 miles. Once I get to like 7 or 8 miles with these, I start feeling it at the bottom of my foot, right? It might just be me because I'm used to the higher stack cushion, but if you want a trainer that can get up to 6, 7, 8 miles, very fast, very responsive, and you can even use it for workouts, this is your shoe right here. It is $140, very cheap for the quality that it is, honestly. And they're very light. I mean, that's what surprised me the most, is because when I unboxed them, I assumed they were going to be heavy, because the Super Blast, like I said, they feel a little clunky and a little on the heavier side. But no, these were lighter than the Super Blast, more responsive, but the only downside to them is the lower cushion, honestly. I could see myself running up to 8 miles with them, but more than that, honestly, I don't know. It's just my bottom of my foot would start hurting, and then from there it could honestly impact your shins. But as far as like a long workout shoe, progression runs, tempos, things of that nature, this is your go-to right here. Key benefits of this shoe: extremely light, very responsive, and very affordable as well. All right, next on the list, the Nike Zoom Streak Fly. For my third shoe, I just look for something very light that I can use for really short and very fast workouts. So, these shoes were made by Nike when the carbon fiber frenzy was going on. And as you guys know, a lot of the lower distance races like the mile, the 5K, the 2 mile, things of that nature, you don't really use high cushioning shoes. You want the lightest, the fastest, most responsive, most snug shoe. Sorry, you want almost like a track spike, but for the road, right? So Nike invented the Zoom Streak Fly, and as you can see here, it says 5K to 10K, and these shoes have great cushioning, very good cushioning. The Flyknit material on top makes them very breathable and extremely light. I mean, these shoes weigh like a piece of paper. And the best part of all, the most revolutionary part of all of this shoe right here is the carbon fiber plate installed in the forefoot. Now, these shoes are meant for racing. I personally use them for very fast workouts, anything from 1Ks and under. I mean, as you guys know, whenever you're doing 1Ks, 800s, 400s, things of that nature, you want a very fast shoe. You want the fastest shoe that gives you the most pop, that is the lightest. And the thing that is amazing about this shoe is that since it has a carbon fiber plate in the forefoot, it pretty much gives you an insane amount of pop whenever you land. This is mostly for forefoot strikers, right? If you're a heel striker where you land in the back, it might not benefit you as much. But if you're a forefoot striker where you land in the front part of the shoe, you will get an insane pop. I mean, honestly, with these shoes, it feels like they're doing the work for you. The moment you land, that carbon fiber plate will just make you shoe up right off the bat. I mean, it's crazy. The shoelaces are pretty snug. Honestly, the shoe is it has a very good fit. They're actually quite narrow from the front, so you don't have to really worry about getting like a wider version. But they fit overall. They fit very well. Narrow feet, small feet, wide feet. It doesn't matter. These shoes will fit well. And I actually have not used them for a 5K yet, mostly just for workouts, but I could totally see myself running a really fast time in the 5K with these. These shoes are extremely light, extremely responsive. The carbon fiber plate gives you that insane pop. The fly wire material makes them extremely light. And the best part of all that I like in flats or in racing shoes is the fit. I want them to feel very tight on my foot, very snug. And these shoes do just that. And as far as the traction, I mean, I've used them in the dirt. I've used them on the track, as you can see, the red. I've used them on the road. They're perfect. I mean, if you're looking for a 5K flat, this is your go-to right here. The key benefits of these flats are they're extremely light, and of course, the infamous carbon fiber plate. And last but not least, one of the most revolutionary shoes of all time, the Nike Next Percents. For my rest day shoe, I'm looking for the lightest, most comfortable, and most responsive shoe I could find. This shoe right here, the first time I ever used this shoe, man, what an experience. So, right off the bat, these shoes are meant for racing, especially road racing. So, half marathon, 10K, marathon, right? They were designed for these races. So what's so special about these shoes is that they were one of the very first shoes that had the carbon fiber plate installed inside them, right? And the special thing about these is that they actually have the carbon fiber plate throughout the entire shoe, not just the forefoot as like the Zoom Streak Fly do. So even if you heel strike, if you forefoot strike, these shoes will still get you that extra pop, that insane responsiveness. The responsiveness in these shoes is absolutely out of this world. So they actually are made out of fly wire, just like as a Zoom Streak fly are. So they make them absolutely light. I mean, these things pretty much weigh almost as light as a Zoom Streak fly. Literally, maybe like a point something ounces off. The shoelaces are actually, they fit pretty snug, and the cushioning, that was revolutionary, because during the old time flats, they had like no cushioning. It was almost as if you're running barefoot. So when they added a carbon fiber plate on these shoes, they added a ton of cushioning. As you can see, the stack height is there. That's what makes them able to run for the marathon and the half marathon. I've used them for a 10K, and man, they just feel great. I honestly assumed that I would start feeling in my shins, in my ankles, or just fatigue in general. But no, these shoes are perfect for 4-foot strikers. I myself am a 4-foot striker, so it almost feels like the shoe forces you to land 4-foot, and even if you're tired, it just gives you that extra push off. I mean, I've used them for mile repeats. Also, you could even use them for fast, long threshold workouts. So when I used them the first time for mile repeats, I was absolutely tired, and they really live up to their name, the next percent, because I ran 2 mile repeats. I ran the first one at 5:49. I put these shoes on 5:39. No effort. It literally feels like the shoe is working for you just because of how responsive it is. The only downside to these shoes, I would say, is the fit. So as you can see here, it has like a curve in the center. They're almost designed to fit just like a foot, right? As your foot is almost curved. But the only downside to that is that putting them, the fit is pretty strange. It almost wraps up around your foot. But if you have any type of like arc that is not a normal arc on your foot, it could feel a bit uncomfortable. But the fit is pretty snug. The another downside I would say is that since they are made out of fly wire, it can be a bit slippery with socks, and it almost feels like they're gonna fall off, but they're not. The fit is well enough. But I mean, these shoes, 9 out of 10, incredible, revolutionary. They honestly drop your times. They do the work for you. Extremely responsive, extremely light, very snug fit. This is like the perfect flat, and I'm excited to try the Alpha Flies, which are the version ahead of these. They're even more revolutionary than these. But if these have done such amazing work with racing, I can only imagine how good the Alpha Flies are. But I will be using these for the Las Vegas half marathon, and I can't wait. With these shoes, I'm gonna PR, no doubt. The key points of this racing shoe are they're extremely light, insanely responsive, and the legendary carbon fiber plate. If you want to be fast, don't forget to like and subscribe.